tale of two headlines. So this week in misleading headlines, on July 30th, CNBC published the headline saying, CDC study shows 74% of people infected in Massachusetts COVID outbreak were fully vaccinated. That same day, CNN said, vaccination by itself is not enough to stop the spread of variants, study finds. And to add to the ominous and hopeless tone, several outlets also ran with a stat last week that 125,000 fully vaccinated Americans had tested positive for COVID. Terrifying. Of course, we started to then see these headlines and context-free statistics either quoted or just screenshot on social media in posts that support the contention that vaccines actually don't work anyway, and that any kind of quote-unquote vaccine mandate is not only a waste of time and an affront to civil liberties, but supposedly represents an unreasonable side effect risk for very low immunity reward. And everyone's favorite ivermectin proponent and vaccine alarmist, Brett Weinstein, tweeted the CNN headline, screenshotted, vaccination by itself is not enough, as evidence that he's been just so far ahead of the curve. I mean, if vaccines are not enough, it turns out he has a horse dewormer that some have noted comes in a convenient paste with fruity flavors you can order directly from Amazon for you. Spend some time in the reviews section on that Amazon page if you do look it up. Here's my favorite. It's from a user named Justin.
It works! The flavor was kind of gross. We mixed a pea-sized amount with peanut butter. My whole farm felt better the next day.
So random. This is from someone calling herself Lydia Loves Butterflies.
You probably know what/why I used it, and I do so prophylactically about every 6 weeks. I put it with reg jelly on a spoon, easy peasy. No side effects so far, and been doing this almost a year. No illnesses either. Use the weight/dosing line in syringe.
Well, no illnesses. Now, ivermectin is for horses only, of course, in this form, right? In this paste, this fruity paste that you can imbibe. But if you go to Google right now and enter ivermectin paste, it will complete the sentence for you as ivermectin paste dosage for humans. Click on that. You caught me. Click on that, and there are websites giving instructions on how to self-administer. And in that list, Amazon pops up with one of those auto-generated headlines that says, explore dewormers for humans. So you can see what your options are in Amazon. But I digress. Brett was also happy because if you scan the CNN article, it does seem to support the idea he got from veterinary medicine expert and vaccine doomsday prophet Geert Vandenbossche that vaccines play a key role in the creation of variants. But if you read more carefully, the reporting says that if vaccination efforts are slow and patchy, yes, the percentage of unvaccinated people in the population does then create a kind of selective pressure against the vaccinated people that may foster variants. The answer to that problem is not animal remedies, though. As the article points out, it's getting more people vaccinated faster, in addition to also adopting quarantine measures until the case numbers improve again, which is what they really meant by the headline. Now, let's go back to that looming number of 125,000 vaccinated Americans testing positive. At a bare minimum, to contextualize that large seeming number, we need to consider how many Americans have been vaccinated. That number is best understood, 125,000, as a percentage of the significantly larger number of 165 million, which means that actually 0.075, that's 75 in 1,000, of vaccinated people have tested positive. Because, turns out, the vaccines are still very effective against the Delta variant. Now, on to the scary Massachusetts story. 74% of people testing positive had been vaccinated. This one got quoted to me a lot this week in comments on Threads. Here's more information. This was a single instance of 900 people in Provincetown, stemming from 4th of July gatherings in a state with the second highest vaccination rate in the country. So yes, Delta is more contagious. Yes, crowded indoor gatherings of predominantly vaccinated people led to breakthrough infections of mostly vaccinated people. The total of those 900 cases that were hospitalized, 7. Number of deaths, 0. Now, if you zoom out a little, we find that overall in the state of Massachusetts, with a 63% vaccination rate, the hospitalization rate for vaccinated people is 0.008%. and COVID deaths make up 0.02% of the vaccinated population. Now, I'll link to all of these sources along with a chart in the show notes that tracks the correlation between each state's vaccination rate and the new infection numbers. And as Derek said, that data is very clear. Lower vax rates indicate the largest new case numbers. I'm not a statistician, but we should just mention that the technical term for the faulty intuition often at play with statistics here is called the base rate fallacy, which is the tendency to focus on individual data points without integrating them into the appropriate larger context, as I was just doing. In this case, it's failing to see new infections amongst the vaccinated as a percentage of the total number of people who've been vaccinated. It can also be really easy to overlook that the number of new infections is not really as significant as what the vaccines are over 90% effective at doing, which is preventing severe illness and death. Those percentages are holding up really well, even in the face of the Delta variant, with the latest studies showing maybe a small percentage drop of 2 to 5%, which cannot yet be determined to be due to Delta or just how long ago someone received their vaccine. Now, to end on a hopeful note, new data also shows what researchers call a surprisingly short-lived cycle with regard to the spikes in new cases from the Delta variant in both India and the UK. Wherever we go from here with emerging variants, continuing to get more people vaccinated has so far been the most effective strategy. But media scaremongering that confuses people on vaccine efficacy for clicks is really shameful.